for your job, and you can't go anywhere, so you can't function in the city, and then go, see, now you'll choose to get vaccinated. I only took everything from you. I'm gonna, with the threat of poverty and homelessness backing what I'm saying. See, now you'll make the right choice. Now, no surprise, because it's New York. De Blasio already has gone full authoritarian on what's going on in New York. And unfortunately, because New York is neo-lib central, it's the neo-lib capital, or the shit-lib capital. I'm going to refer to them because that's more fun to say. De Blasio wants to go even farther by essentially saying you cannot function in society at all, period, unless you undergo a mandatory, a government-sanctioned medical procedure. And then it brings to the interesting debate of, should you leave the cities or should you stay and fight the cities? And I can see this going either way, but I lean more towards you should fight for the cities. New York, that one might be a lost cause because of how it is as an asset to the country. But for where I live, California, I don't think you should sacrifice California and let it fall apart and leave. Mainly because I've always said, I was like, I want the right to take California. Republicans are idiots, but I think they can do it. We have some good ones here. We have Joe Collins. We have Major Williams. We got some good ones here who are running consistently and trying to change things. But there's that discussion where you'll hear, like, again, the Tim Pool talk about this, where it was like, Democrats can get more people out and voting, especially with mail-in voting, because apartment complexes. And the right tends to be in more suburban or rural areas where everything is spread out, so they can't do as much in the shorter amount of time. But his solution is stupid, because I'm like, wouldn't that mean the right should go into the cities and do it back? Because the right should take California. I don't know why you complain about a lot of the stuff out of California, especially as it pertains to culture, and you want to abandon California. Not to mention, we're the 5th biggest economy in the world, and we produce the majority of the food in this country. Or, well, not the majority, but as of all the states, we produce the most by far. It's like 30% of the food from the country comes from California, where the next leading state, I think, is 17. It's somewhere between 15 and 17. I'm like, wouldn't it be strategically good for the conservatives and the libertarians to take that state and have control over the institutions there that are, you have the educational institutions, the entertainment institutions, big tech. You would have that area. So I don't understand why you think running from the city is a good idea. Like I said, New York, you don't really have as much there, except like advertising, big advertising firms and newspapers that are already not going to shift right. So I don't know. New York might be a lost cause, but I want to show you where he's going with this mandates, because he is wilding at this point. And a lot of this stuff only takes effect right as he's on his way out. But that's because de Blasio is a wannabe tyrant.
People want to lead their lives. I mean, the hard thing, and, I feel it here in New York City. Yeah. By the way, I'm from Philadelphia, so it's not like I live in a rural area. But I feel it in every block that I walk in New York City. But if I were in the middle part of the country with you, I don't think we'd see masks. I don't think we'd be showing our vax cards anywhere. So I come back to that point where unless everybody's on the same page in the country, we're kind of screwed.
And you know how you get on the same page? People have to lead. So, look, I believe...
So this already, you can see, this is a dangerously authoritarian idea, right? In order to fight this and get through this, we have to get everyone on the same page, and that's through leadership. That is a really authoritarian idea, because especially when it comes to something like, again, medical procedures, then you're not going to get anyone on the same page, no matter how good of a leader you are. She's not, but I'm saying, no matter how good of a leader you are. So the only way to do that is brute force. That's the only way you're going to get a whole state, or at least even the majority of a state, to go along with what you're saying.
Enough leadership, enough mandates, we're going to get a hell of a lot more people vaccinated.
See, more authoritarianism. So that's not getting everyone on the same page. That's forcing everybody onto the same page. It's different.
The more people vaccinated, the more we actually make the transition to a time when COVID is in the background, not the foreground. And we know these mandates work, and we know people respond. Look, human beings are pretty predictable. If you say your paycheck depends on it, or your ability to enjoy life and go do the things you want to do, people will make the practical decision overwhelmingly, and they'll go get vaccinated. But we are.
Yeah, but you see how he makes it sound like it's a choice? Like, that's not a choice. That's saying, I will take your livelihood away, or your job, and you can't go anywhere, so you can't function in the city, and then go, see, now you'll choose to get vaccinated. I only took everything from you. I'm gonna, with the threat of poverty and homelessness, backing what I'm saying, see, now you'll make the right choice. Like I said, and you get some people who keep going, well, it's still a choice.
That's not a choice, that's an ultimatum, Gohan. We both know I don't know what that word means. Obviously not.
Not the same thing. Especially, as far as I've seen, there are people there who are saying no medical exceptions, and not even to get into, well, Maj has covered this, not even to get into the racism of mandates, which I don't know why the right is not attacking this, because if you really wanted to attack the left, you could point out the systemic racism of mandates, and how overwhelmingly black people and Asian people actually are not vaccinated. And so these things of saying you can't work or you can't go to stores without a vax card will disproportionately hurt black and Asian areas. It will hurt their wealth, because they will be cutting out the majority of their customer base, and their businesses won't be able to function. So they'll end up closing down, because overwhelmingly the white people in New York are vaccinated. So that's why I said, why the right should be pointing that out. You really wanted to own the libs? Why don't you point out the systemic racism of the mandates? It's Democrats doing it. And you agree, you all say Democrats are the real racists. So, get in front of this and call them on it. Again, I'm just saying politically, strategically, that is a really, that's a sound idea. And then that will make people, warm up to you guys more. But seeing as how they're so incompetent, I won't hold my breath for it. Now in California, where I am, which is I think like one of the strictest, I haven't noticed. You can still move around fine. Like I said, it depends on the neighborhood. There are a lot of businesses who are not obeying the mandates, who do not care, don't care about your vax status or whatever. You can just walk in. There's businesses with no masks. So for me personally, life here hasn't really changed that much. So it's not as bad as like you have narcs coming down, checking on the businesses and finding them yet. And like I said, because I don't want to my contrarians out there who may listen to me, look, if you are susceptible to the virus, but you oppose mandates, go get the vaccine, and then just refuse to show your vax card or tell anyone if you got vaccinated. That way you're protecting yourself, and you don't have to give in to mandates. Because even if you're a contrarian right-wing ignorant, I don't want you to get hurt. Okay? How did this guy get into office? That is amazing. And how does this guy have any support? But then again, New York is shitlib central, and they're completely brainwashed. Not leftist shitlibs. I've explained how they're different in the past. The shitlibs are the establishment types. They're not like the actual leftists. They pose as leftists. They'll say they're progressive, but they side with clearly regressive and policies that go against what they say they stand for. And when you centralize them, you get to Blasio. This is how you get there. Yeah, that in New York, I think New York's a lost cause, but all my friends in Cali, I mean, you can resist this. You can do this. Just next election, please don't run somebody like Elder. You lost because of Elder. You can't run somebody. You culture shocked the shitlibs, because the shitlibs were voting to get rid of Newsom. You culture shocked them back to Newsom. You should have left it alone and just get Jenner and then run somebody to the right of him later. But yeah, don't give up in California. Yeah, screw New York. Leave New York.